As for the two factors we have to be careful of, as for the two factors that should not fool us, factor number one, just because we had strong iman, just because we tasted piety at one point in our lives, it does not mean that we shall remain pious throughout our lives. Just because we were close to Allah during Ramadan does not mean we're close to Allah right now. Just because we felt spiritually strong and powerful after Umrah and Hajj does not mean it will last throughout our entire lives. Iman fluctuates, and it is very possible that at one point in our lives we were very good, very righteous, very pious, and then Shaitan came and seduced us. Shaitan came and misguided us. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that people before us, their main problem was that lack of that reality, that notion of false confidence. They thought that just because they had iman once, they shall always have iman. And Allah says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Don't be like those who were given the book before you. فَطَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَمَدِ. And as time went on, their hearts became hard. They had iman, they had the book, they had knowledge, but they thought, khalas, we are the chosen people. Allah has blessed us. Allah has gifted us. And time went on. And time caused their hearts to become hard. Therefore, the first factor we have to be careful of, just because we were righteous at one point in times does not guarantee righteousness at later point in times. On the contrary, iman is an active verb. We must always nourish iman and be vigilant that our iman does not go down. The second factor we have to be careful of, the second factor that we have to be cognizant about is that even if we have a spiritual blessing, and even if there is a barakah that Allah has given, it is possible that we don't appreciate that blessing. And it is possible that the very blessing that at one point in time caused our iman, at another point in time, it might actually become an impediment against strong iman. And the best example for this is the blessing, and it is a blessing, of knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises knowledge and the people of knowledge. And Allah in fact actually says, you can never achieve the highest levels of iman and taqwa without knowledge. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. It is only the alim who will truly fear Allah. So generally speaking, knowledge is a gift, knowledge is a blessing. But even this gift and blessing, even this barakah from Allah, it can be abused. Shaitan can come and switch out this blessing, and instead of becoming a blessing, the very thing that should have led you to Allah might actually take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you misuse it, if you don't have the right intentions. And we see this with regards to knowledge. Allah says in the Quran, Inna deena indallahi al-Islam. Verily, the religion in the eyes of Allah is Islam. And the only reason the people before you, they broke away, they didn't accept this religion, the Ahl Kitab, when the Quran came, when the Prophet ﷺ came, why didn't they accept? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they understood the ilm, but hasad and baghi came into their hearts. Jealousy and arrogance came into their heart. Min ba'di ma utul kitab. After the book was given, after the ilm came, after the bayinat, after the huda. In so many verses, Allah says, the people before you recognized the truth and they rejected it. They knew, but they didn't act upon that knowledge. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doubly criticizes them. They should have known better. They had the knowledge. I gave them the book. I gave them the huda. But what happened? Their hearts became hard. They became arrogant. They became jealous. Why was he given the book and not us? Why was the Prophet in another race and not our race? Allah ascribed knowledge to them. And yet Allah said, because of their knowledge did not benefit them. They became angry and jealous. They became arrogant. And this shows us a potential for good was wasted. A source of potential blessings was lost. Just because you have been blessed in one area does not mean that it will always be a blessed area. If you don't appreciate it, then the very blessing that Allah has given you can be flipped around and used against you. So these are the two warnings that I remind myself and all of you. Just because you are pious at one point in time does not mean piety lasts forever. And just because Allah blessed you with some blessing that was indeed a blessing of piety, whether it was memorizing some Quran, whether it was gaining some knowledge, it was a genuine blessing. Okay, it doesn't mean it's going to last forever if your attitude is not right. You have to have that humility and that ikhlas.